Despite many non-Scandinavians still struggling to pronounce this band's name, Folket Bortafor Nordavinden established itself as a cut above the rest with their 2018 debut album, Sagnamaður. But does their 2022 follow-up Uten, Ende continue the momentum and deliver more of what we loved in the first album? Considering I already spoiled this in my Best of 2022 video from a few weeks ago, yes, it does. A lot, actually. So let's talk about why this album is a must-listen for any fans of the new Nordic genre. Folket Bortafor Nordavinden is the brainchild of Benny Bråten, a veteran of the old guard of Viking market musicians who came out of Norway in the 90s, along with other names you might be familiar with too, like Gustav Holberg, Espen Winter of Eldrum, Benny's brother Kjell Bråten, or even Maria Franz of Heilung. Suffice it to say, Benny Bråten has a lot of experience in this music culture, and along with these musicians and others, he stands as a pretty iconic cultural figure for any music inspired by the Nordic past and the contemporary culture around it. In essence, Folket Bortafor Nordavinden is less a band in the traditional sense and more a revolving door project of many of these Nordic music veterans with Benny himself at the creative helm, with many of these names and others appearing on the album in collaboration. Now this alone makes any Folket Bortafor Nordavinden album pretty significant for the new Nordic music scene from a cultural perspective. These are the folks who helped make this music scene what it is today, and whenever they make music together, you're given a glimpse of the experiences of people who have spent the last 30 years together making this music culture what it is, before it hit the mainstream in the last 10 years or so. This is why, when Folket Bortafor Nordavinden puts out new music, you know it's going to deserve an honest listen from cover to cover, and Uten, Ende is no exception. Now, a little bit of background, Uten, Ende is a concept album centered around a common spiritual, religious, mythological view of life, the world, and even the cosmos as being but one continuous cycle. Benny uses themes and references from Völuspá to illustrate this concept in a Norse context, from the creation myth all the way through Ragnarok. These references and calls to Völuspá are threaded throughout the entire album, beginning with Out of Nothing Comes Everything from the track Gap through We're Born and We Die, It Goes Around, One Man's Death is Another Man's Breath, One Life Without End, which of course is the title of the album Uten, Ende. Now, a large part of what makes this album stand out to me musically is not just the fact that these cyclical motifs are found in the lyrics and the textual inspiration for the album, but in the rhythms as well. In this album, Folket Bortafor Nordavinden utilizes asymmetrical rhythms that subvert the expectations of when a phrase might begin or end. For instance, the rhythm of Unjo laukar otala ingvar is in 13 beats. In an odd-numbered meter such as this, the pulse becomes irregular on each repetition, and on each repetition, the beginning falls on a different part of the phrase, creating a rhythm that cycles endlessly into itself without an easily discernible beginning or end. Now, of course, this can get a lot more complicated, but just for the sake of reviewing an album, that's pretty much all you need to know to understand how Benny and the rest of Folket Bortafor Nordavinden are using cycles not just lyrically, but musically as well. But make no mistake, this album is not all about rhythm, as the melodies and the vocals on the album are captivating as well, with great contributions from collaborators in Benny's circle. The most frequent voices you hear in this album are Benny's, Espen Winter's, Gustav Holberg's, and Runehild's. And to me, the reason these voices work so well together is their complementary ranges. Between Benny's bass, Espen Winter's baritone, Gustav Holberg's tenor, and Runehild's alto, you pretty much cover most of the ranges you typically find in a vocal ensemble, which is why the presence of these voices together creates a pretty lush and full sound palette that's really satisfying to listen to. Now, this isn't to say that these voices only work well as a group, for there are songs on this album that spotlight these singers as the incredibly talented individuals that we know them to be. Benny really shines as a singer on Den Varden Vi Känner, Holberg's wailing on Hagelar never fails to get the heart rate going. Espen Winter gives a very stellar performance on Wunjo Hagelar Algir Dagar, and of course Runehild's lovely voice shines on tracks such as Dagar and Yendaha. Now when it comes to guest showings on the album, I have to mention that Benny's brother Kjell features in a few tracks as well, with my favorite contribution of his being on the final track, Et Liv Uten Ende, which brings the album to a thrilling conclusion. So to wrap up with an evaluation of Et Liv Uten Ende as a whole, the absolute strength of this album comes from its emphasis on music as a meaningful and intimate experience, both personally and socially. Emphasis on experience. As this music style has gotten more and more popular, the demands on the titans of the genre, you're gonna give me tinnitus. The demands on the titans of this genre, notably Vardruna and Heilung, to create grand and majestic performances become stronger and stronger with each record. And while they're damn good at it, sometimes one craves something a little more cozy. As if you yourself are helping to create this music in a very intimate setting, like a campfire, for instance. And while the aforementioned acts have definitely shown themselves to be capable of creating music like this, I'm thinking of Vardruna's Skald album or even recent tracks off of Heilung's Drifts such as Anoana and Urbani, I do believe that this is where the classic old guard's approach to this music style really shines and excels best. And this is especially apparent in the music of Folket Bortafor Nordavinden. Whenever I listen to this album, it sounds like it was made and recorded in a very intimate and familiar setting. And that if these musicians gathered around a fire to perform this album in its entirety for a crowd or an audience or a group of friends, it would sound pretty indistinguishable, if not better, from the recorded product. In short, there's a time and a place for grand and majestic, and there's a time and a place for intimate and earthly. But especially this time of year, if you're looking for an experience that takes you back to drumming around a fire with friends under the stars, that is what the music of Folket Bortafor Nordavinden does best, and in a way that never fails to bring me into their circle with them, almost as if I, myself, the listener, was a part of the album all along. And so friends, thank you so very much for watching the first album review of 2023. I would really love to hear what your favorite track on the album was. Mine was definitely Den Varden Vi Känner, though it was incredibly difficult to narrow it down. Now, leave your favorite track in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Next week, I'll be reviewing Icelandic musician Ólafur Arnalds' latest album, so if you're a fan of beautiful and celestial piano works, definitely ring the bell to make sure you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Nordic Sound channel.